Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, Facebook. Let's get Instagram up and running on the live feed. Here she comes. You can do it, Instagram. I believe in you. There we go. Let's get TikTok in the house. I caught myself playing small, and the weird thing is, I caught myself doing it while I thought I was being really brave. Good morning, this is the morning report from the Working Actor NYC. We're live on TikTok, we're live on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. It is Thursday, August 13th. And 6 months ago, I stepped away from the comfortable version of my acting career to bet on TV and film. And now that the 6 months are over, I have to admit, I didn't accomplish the thing I set out to accomplish. Sometimes playing small looks remarkably like working really, really hard. Good morning, Max. Thank you for being here. Sue May joined. Good morning. Thanks for being here. This is the morning report from the Working Actor NYC. This is your spot for real life stories and strategies. And this is what the daily life of a working actor in New York City looks like. So let me know where you are and what you're working on in your acting career. Have you ever realized that you're doing the comfortable version of being uncomfortable? Because I think I just caught myself doing exactly that. So I made a 6-month bet on myself. Good morning, Laura Ann Marez. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate that very much. I appreciate your help. Every bit of support counts, so thank you. Kansas Tolerance, Laura Ann Marez. Thank you for being here. So yeah, 6 months ago, I made a bet on myself. I stepped away from the comfortable version of my career. My bread and butter gigs are regional theater gigs. I get to play great roles. I get to work in great theaters with wonderful people. And there's nothing wrong with that career. And I just want more. I gave myself 6 months of not leaving New York City, because that's where the regional gigs are. They are in Pennsylvania and Florida and Massachusetts and Maine and Vermont and San Diego, and all the TV and film work is right here in New York City. So all of that work is wonderful, and I love it, and it's a perfectly nice career. I want more. I want TV and film. So I made a bet on 6 months here in New York City so that I could prioritize TV and film. And now I have enough information to assess the experiment. I wasn't running away from a career I didn't like. I was making room for a career I wanted more of. And so, yeah, comfortable isn't the same thing as bad. Sometimes comfortable is lovely, which is precisely why it's so hard to leave. Oh, Laura Ann does mostly voice acting. Do you like audiobook or commercial or both or everything? Thank you, Laura Ann, but I hate to be the one to break it to you. The experiment, I didn't accomplish the goal that I set out to achieve. I worked. I booked an off-Broadway show. I did an industrial. I did a voice job. I did some announcing for a dance piece. I had a film at Tribeca. I was the lead in a short film that made it into Tribeca Festival. I went to a bunch of events there, and these are accomplishments that I am proud of. But the specific goal was TV and film, and I didn't book either of those things. I do mostly video games, commercials, animation, and ADR. I'm okay. So, Laura Ann, I recently, not recently, over the last 6 months, the great thing about being at home for the last 6 months is I finally got around to all of the things that I've been meaning to do around the house. And one of them, I turned a tiny closet uh, into a voiceover booth. So I now have a place where I can actually shut the door that has no windows on it, and I've put sound insulation padding on the walls. Um, so I now have a voiceover booth. And the annoying thing is, I don't think I've used it since. Why is that? Because I have had voiceover auditions, commercial. I had a booking.com. Yeah. They wanted an Australian accent in the mix for that booking.com ad that's on at the moment, or I see it a lot on HBO Max. And every time it comes on, it's like, oh yeah, I auditioned for that. Booking.com. Yeah. Um, Good morning, UAE. Thank you, Laura Ann. Of course, I'm going to keep going. I mean, what's the what other alternative do I have? Least favorite acting gig that you're glad you take. Um, I'm extremely glad that I did an off-Broadway show called A Man of No Importance. I got to work with some incredible people, but it was a very difficult job because the director hated understudies, and I was understudying Jim Parsons and Bill Humans and Tom Sesma and somebody else. And I got to go on a lot, and I played the lead for 10 days when Jim Parsons got COVID, and it was a wonderful cathartic experience, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the performing very much, but rehearsals were very difficult for me because the director just hated us, didn't want us to speak, didn't want us to be seen or heard, and wanted us to sit in a corner away from everybody else. And that made it massively unenjoyable. So that Vezix Haikal is my least favorite. So yeah, I took 6 months off. Good morning, Lady J. Let me know what you're working on in your acting career. I didn't accomplish the goal that I set out to achieve with my 6-month bet on myself, and I thought I was going really hard. I was signing up for workshops. I was going to industry events. I was putting myself in rooms where I could build relationships. Um, here's what makes playing small so sneaky. Sometimes it looks like working your ass off. I was going to classes and workshops. I was meeting casting directors. I was making my visibility was off the charts. I make a lot of content. I'm on here every weekday morning at 8 a.m. That's what this is, the daily, the morning report from the Working Actor NYC. I was not sitting around waiting for permission. I was out there. I was out there. Morning, Lucas Gabriel. So why do I call all of that I was doing playing small? I wasn't avoiding the work. I may have been avoiding one very specific kind of work. And I can see now, looking back over the last 6 months, I was doing the comfortable version of being uncomfortable. Laura Ann says, I always do the crazy thing. If I feel like I'm doing something crazy and inserting myself, I am very good about doing the thing that I'm avoiding. But sometimes it takes me a minute, and somehow I didn't cross that threshold over the last 6 months. I can look back now and go, oh, there's what you didn't do. And there's still time for me to do it. But I start a new job, a new theater job. Next week, I've booked the job after that. I'm auditioning for the job after that. next week. So do you know what I mean? Like I now have more regional theater jobs lined up. But all of those workshops that I was going to, all of those casting directors that I was meeting, they can be uncomfortable, but they're structured. You sign up, you pay in the case of the commercial ones, but I also go to the SAG-AFTRA Casting Access, SAG-AFTRA Foundation Casting Access workshops, which are free, and everybody knows why we're there. They permit interaction. And these are places where relationships might develop. I'd found the precise amount of discomfort I was comfortable with. I was willing to put myself in the room, but all of that is different than deliberately initiating a relationship with casting directors that I don't know well. So it's like the difference between I'm willing to put myself in the room. I'm not always willing to knock on the door. And I think the edge for me of my comfort, discomfort is direct outreach. Nobody invited me to email them. And so I didn't. I was waiting for an invitation. There's no structured structure to that interaction. There's no guaranteed response. Direct outreach requires me to assert that my work is worth someone's attention. And apparently that's where some fear lives for me. Apparently clicking send is scarier than walking into a room full of casting directors. Good to know. Good to know about myself. Oh, thank you, Rose. Good morning. Bilad's back. Hey, Bilad, thank you for coming back. Vendetta, I am originally from Australia, and now I am in New York City. Hi, Sandus 10CS. This is the Working Actor NYC. This is the daily, the morning report. And self-realization is beautiful. And, it's worth, it's beautiful. It's worth doing. It can be slightly painful, but I feel better for the exercise. Franca Freitas, is that Brazil? Those flags are very small. I can't see them. Sandus 10CS is from Algeria. Go for it, Exapar rivals. I appreciate Brazil. Excellent. Pain helps us grow as people. Absolutely. I was just, there's been all this news about chronic inflammation and how that redness around a scar is inflammation, but it's what's helping the scar to form and for the skin to heal. Yeah, so that whole direct outreach is the edge of my comfort and discomfort, and apparently being the lead in a film at Tribeca wasn't enough. I don't know how I let that opportunity not be enough justification to reach out with emails to casting directors that I have met, casting directors that I want to meet. Like, if that's not enough, what would be enough? What would qualify? Another festival, another TV credit, an award, I just think I have to be aware of that threshold of what is enough. What exactly am I waiting to be enough for? You know what I mean? Oh, thanks for the likes. Thanks for the follows. Sundus, let me check it out. What exactly am I waiting to be enough for? I have done 3 Broadway shows. I have booked television and film. I am a literal working actor. So why am I being shy about sending emails to casting directors that I haven't met saying, we should know each other. I want you to know my work. Isn't that crazy? See, Laura Ann gets it. Laura Ann knows. I just, this sort of diagnosis, this sort of self-diagnosis is only useful if you're willing to follow the treatment. So I'm talking myself into this outreach right now. Outreach does not mean I'm demanding an audition. Outreach is an introduction. And here's who I am, what I'm doing, and why I think that we may be aligned. Nobody owes me a response. Their reaction isn't within my control. But what is in my control is being knowable, being visible to them, and building that relationship is on me. Introducing yourself isn't the same thing as asking somebody for something. I have, wait, did I miss something? Laura Ann, I have Tara Strong, Richard Horvitz, Rob Paulson, and Christina Alabato. Christina Alabato, I just worked with her last year. If I wouldn't have just jumped in, I wouldn't have met any of these people. Oh, Christina and I did a musical called Regency Girls at the Old Globe in San Diego last year. So yeah, she has that super interesting animation career, right? She keeps asking me to say Australian words for that, for her, because isn't her character, was it Heartbreak Hotel? Hotel something. What's that show called? And her character is Australian and I'm Australian. So she was like, hey, can you just make sure that I'm saying these words right? So every now and again, I get a little voice memo. Has Been Hotel. Thank you, Lorianne. Yeah, every now and again, I get a voice memo from Christina asking me to say something and say lines in Australian. I hope she doesn't get in trouble for that. sharing lines with me. So I just sort of feel as though all of this is telling me that the 6 months is never wasted. Time is never wasted. But I think I was playing small. I think I wasn't playing as large as I could have. And playing small doesn't look like inactivity. I was doing things. I'm building a spreadsheet of casting directors, but I haven't done the outreach to them. Does that make sense? Instead of submitting to them, I just built the spreadsheet. It's like planning instead of doing. So productive activity can sometimes be camouflage for avoidance, avoidance from what makes me uncomfortable. It's like my procrastination was wearing a little productivity hat. Little, look at me working over here, not getting the results that I wanted. But maybe, look, these 6 months were not wasted, but maybe now I actually have to take the plunge. Maybe now I actually have to place the bet. Because if I hadn't spent this 6 months and come to this realization now, maybe that's what needed to happen in order for me to take the next step and move forward into actually, outreach to these casting directors, and some of whom I've met and some of whom I've not met yet. But now that I've seen that blind spot, that avoidance in myself. I can't unsee it. Now I have to act on it. Maybe these 6 months didn't get me the TV job that I wanted, but maybe they got me to the edge of the thing that's been stopping me from getting one, right? So that's the work. Um, I would love to hear exactly right, Laura Ann. I mean, like, the they, they can say no, they can just ignore it, which, you know, happens all the time. So, Laura Ann, where do you know if you have these kinds of blind spots? I would love to hear. Oh, I love big glasses. Don't come for my glasses. Also, the thing about big glasses is you can write on them. Can y'all read what that says? If the manufacturer of your glasses says for $5 you can write on the inside, you can write yourself a message on the inside, do it. Benjamin is hot. That's my little pick me up every morning. Actors have thick skins. It's true. And well, I think you don't get to this state. I mean, I've been a working actor in New York City for over 25 years, and I don't think you get this far into an acting career without having a thick skin. But in order for a career to keep moving, you have to sort of have that diagnostic tool. Good morning, RCO. I'm doing great. It's great to be here. Hex, I've been on 3 Broadway shows. I work in TV, I work in film, I work all the time in regional theater. I do a lot of musicals, I sing, I used to dance. Laura Ann says, I don't have a problem putting myself out there. My problem is marketing. Oh, 10 comments over on. Sorry, I'm just catching up on the comments on YouTube and on Facebook. And true to form, hi, Jacqueline Coleman. Thanks for being here. True to form, YouTube is crazy. Why are the crazies always over on YouTube? Hi, Philippines. Hi, Ray. Thank you, RCO. Hex can see me as a TV cop. I tend to play the detective or the doctor or the lawyer. I give very good elegant menace is my terminology for it. I like to, my wheelhouse, the characters that I excel at, the characters that I get to play a lot tend to fall into sort of categories, and I like to market those in that way. So part of my marketing, Laura, and maybe this helps you, maybe it doesn't, but I like to make sure that I've identified what my wheelhouse characters are. My wheelhouse characters are smart servant. That's where I get to play the restaurant manager, the waiter the smart waiter, the restaurant manager, the doctor, the Hampton's dad. I tend to play upscale characters more than Hex. I do British all the time. I've played so many British characters. I am also Australian, so I do a lot of auditioning in Australian. You would be amazed at how many commercials for the Australian market audition here in New York. So I do a lot of that. I do a lot of accent work. Laura Ann says, "Oh man, Bob Bergen has helped me with this," and Rob Paulson. Yes. So the characters that I like: Hampton's dad, smart servant, elegant menace. Those are really my what I call my wheelhouse characters. So the thing that I work on with my coaching clients is helping them identify what their wheelhouse characters are, um, and then labeling them and making sure that their marketing tools, their headshot, their resume, their reels reinforce those wheelhouses, because that's where you find your niche. And they're not intended to be restrictive. They are intended to be that spot, that sweet spot where you find your way of saying, "Oh, this is where I'm fantastic. I can't wait to show this casting director this version of myself." Um, so I'm glad that Bob Bergen and Rob Paulson are the other people in the world helping actors with that, because that's what I love doing. Muhammad, I'm good. I knew it, Dame. Thanks, X. Laura Ann, which part are you stuck on? Which identifying the wheelhouse characters? Because we can talk through that if you would like. I'm ready to share and happy to help. This is one of my. This is literally why I'm here. I coach a lot of actors, and one of the first things we do is a materials audit to see where they are with their materials. Then we spend a lot of time finding out through their inspirations through other actors where they enjoy working. And then we look at their resume to see where they do work, and we find the intersection of those things, and start to label them. Hi, Morocco Flapjack. I don't have any jobs to give away right now. Hex, can you do an inspiration of a noble Englishman from the 1700s? I was just talking with Laura Ann about a musical that I did last year called Regency Girls. And that was exactly who I played. I played no, 1810. So not 1700s, from the 1800s. But I played a British politician, noble politician, in the 1800s. Laura Ann, like reflecting my headshots and pitching myself. I found roles I'm like really good at. Yes, but like I'm still working on it. Yeah, it's making sure that all new materials are aligning with those wheelhouse characters, because casting directors want you to be the solution. So the more you show up as the solution, that's why I find myself just in the smart servant category all the time, because it's often, "Oh, Hex, would you like me to do the rest of this episode in a British accent? Is that what would make you happy, my friend? Because I'd be happy to oblige." I don't know why I suddenly turned into Elegant Menace at that point. Because that character was an Elegant Menace. So, oh dear. Yeah, it can take some focused work. Villains and thugs. I'm good with the British accent. I can do Mid-Atlantic. Oh, I love Mid-Atlantic. It's fascinating. What was it? I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey. That's my. I play the narrator in Rocky Horror. That was my Mid-Atlantic that I loved doing. A lot of 1930s rubber hose vibes, like Betty Boop. Oh yeah, love it. Villains and thugs. Do you have that? You must have that sort of deep voice. Not deep voice. I was talking about this with one of my clients. She gets cast a lot as the it girl. And the thing we love about her wheelhouse as the it girl is that it can be bitchy and it can be really sweet and sincere. But what she doesn't get cast a lot in is those bad girls. And it's not that she can't play bad girl, but I think casting doesn't register her as a bad girl because she has quite a high pitched voice. And I just sort of feel like it's hard to take a villain who has a high pitched voice, like Jennifer Lawrence or something, or the characters, the actors, the actresses who I think of as being playing working class, more earthy characters tend to have a little bit of gravel to their voice, tend to have a slightly deeper register, and hers is quite high. So I think that that's where the disconnect is. Gotta roll as a goddess for an anime. Come through. Yeah, I really need to put you're inspiring me, Laura. And one thing I should have done over this past 6 months is get my voice over reel together, because I actually really enjoy it, particularly since I'm so good with accents. I think I could be really useful in the animation arena. Oh, awesome. Mm, okay. They never see me as a good girl, even though I have a really high voice. It can go low and high. The demon lord is my mistress. Oh, that's so cool. Laura Ann, I'm down to find these, to find this material. That's so cool. Laura Ann, what part of the world, this is the amazing thing to me is that now that everything is digital, you can be anywhere in the world, in order to submit, but particularly for voiceover, like so much of it gets recorded at home, right? It's not like, I mean, do you ever have to go into a studio to record? I'd be fascinated to know. Laura Ann, what part of the world are you living? If you feel comfortable sharing it, you don't have to tell us, but I'd just be interested to know. I'm from Kansas. My mentors are inspiring me to move to Cali. Oh, so there's still a reason to go and be in a particular location, even for voice. That's so cool. Um, hey, Dayton J187. How's it going over there? Let's just check in. Yeah, Instagram's always a bit quiet. Recording my house, but I also rent from a studio sometimes. Oh, cool. Gosh, I wish I knew enough about voiceover to know what I'm not doing. um, you know, so I'm just I feel as though it's a road that would take a lot of concentration, because there are so many things to learn about it. And no, where do these? The thing is, I can never tell if they're bot trolls or actual real people. It's oh my god, these comments, they make me crack up. I have, oh gosh, y'all, they make me laugh. The comments make me laugh. I couldn't tell you how many times. Good morning, Rakib. Free Palestine, Aliyasha. Listen, friends, I would love to stay and hang out. This has been really fun. But I have to I have to get to the Genius Bar. My computer is still not planned, right? And I have to record a podcast this afternoon. So I am going to keep it moving. I want to thank everybody for showing up. Thanks, Laura, and you too. It was great to meet you. Let me see if I can follow you. There we go. Friends, I will be right back here tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. This is the morning report from the Working Actor NYC. Remember, wherever you are in your acting career, you got this. Keep going. I'll see you right back here at 8 a.m. tomorrow. All right, my friends, time to